Hello children, we are starting with the first chapter of Class 9, the French Revolution. Topics which will be covered in this video is Introduction to French Revolution, Causes of French Revolution, and under this we will cover two causes here, social and economic causes. Now coming to the brief introduction. Let's start with the great importance of French Revolution in world history. Children, the French Revolution gave the world the idea of liberty, fraternity, and equality. French Revolution have paved the way for many revolutions in the world. Now let's see when and how this revolt started. This chapter starts with an incident that occurred on 14th July 1789. It was the morning of 14th July when the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. Louis XVI of Bourbon family, who was the King of France, had commanded troops to move into the city. The rumor spread among the citizens of Paris that very soon the army will open fire upon the citizens. With the fear of this rumor, thousands of men and women came out of their houses and gathered in the front of town hall to form a people's militia. They started attacking the government building in search of arms, and a group of people moved towards the fortress prison, the Bastille. People hope that they will find ammunition in this prison. Children, this fortress prison, the Bastille, was hated by the people as it stood for the despotic rule of king. The despotic rule of king means the king holds absolute power, especially in a cruel and oppressive way. Anyone who spoke against the king was sent to the prison of Bastille. It was the symbol to many oppression of the king. In the armed fight, the commander of the prison was killed, and in over next few months, the Bastille was destroyed and turned into a pile of ruins. The fragmented stones were sold in the market as a souvenir, as demolition of prison stood as a symbol of demolition of the despotic rule of monarch in France. Now the question arises, how and why did this happen? Children, now we will go through the circumstances that led to this incident, which we are going to study under the topic Causes of French Revolution. We divide causes into categories: social cause, economic cause, political cause, and role of middle class. We will start our discussion with social cause. In the 18th century, French society was divided into three states: the first estate, second estate, and the third estate. The first estate comprises of the clergy, who were the members of the church. They enjoyed certain privileges. Other than enjoying the certain privileges, they also were exempted from paying taxes to the state. They do not have to pay any taxes to the government. The second state comprises of who were the members of the second state, that was the nobles. And they also were enjoying certain feudal privileges. They were also exempted from paying taxes to the state. The third estate. The members of this third estate were big businessmen, court officials, lawyers, small farmers, artisans, laborers, and servants. The third estate members were not enjoying any privileges, rather they have to pay all the direct and indirect taxes to the state. Children, for your knowledge, peasants made up to 90% of the population, and most of them were not the owners of the land they cultivate. In France, the state levied two types of taxes, the tithes and the tally. This was the tax that was extracted by the church. About one-tenth of the agricultural produce was paid as a contribution to a religious organization. And tally was a direct tax that has to be paid directly to the state. Other than these taxes, peasants also have to pay indirect taxes which were levied on everyday consumption articles. So we can see that in French society, there was no equality among the citizens. It was not based on merit but on birth. The burden of financing of state through taxes was borne by the third estate, but all the privileges were enjoyed by the first two estates, that is the first and second state. Now we start with the economic causes. The population of France increased in the late 18th century. There was a sudden increase in the population of France. The population of France increased from 23 million to 28 million in 1789, which led to the increase in demand of food grains. But this increased demand of food grain could not keep pace with the production of the food grains. As a result, what happened? The price of the food grain increased. And this has widened the gap between the poor and the rich. Children, most of the workers working in the workshop have fixed wages, and their wages could not keep pace with the rise in the prices of the food. Situation became more worse when there was a failure of crops due to drought or hail. And this situation has led to the subsistence crisis. Now, what does subsistence crisis mean? It is an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. Food is the basic means of livelihood. One cannot live without food. And poor people of France was facing this crisis. Economic cause is one of the adverse cause of any revolution. Do you know why economic cause is one of the adverse cause of any revolution? Because it directly hits on the survival of the people. You will agree with me that a man can survive in equality but cannot survive without food.